Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We'll try to keep this brief to about a half hour. All of our sessions or webinars. We appreciate you taking the time. A couple of things we wanted to start right off on our series is looking at some of the changes that are coming up very quickly in the next 2 weeks. Our agenda today, pretty much, we'll talk about some of the changes for emails that's going to be happening with Microsoft, the effects of what those changes are on your emails coming out of the Great Plains product. I will also talk a little bit about the upcoming release in October for the Dynamics GP and what supported SQL versions will be dropping off, so that to make sure that you stay up to date on those types of things. I will also mention a little bit about our November year-end release, what's coming in the future with Dynamics GP and Gpug Summit, and also if there's anyone on what the Dynamics 365 CRM email changes, which I don't think we have anybody that signed up for those for the CRM side. So we'll jump in with my email. About 1 year ago, Microsoft announced that they will be disabling basic authentication for Outlook and Exchange Online, and that October 1st deadline's coming up in about 2 weeks. For those of everybody that's using Exchange Online, which is more or less your Office 365, means that you will have to upgrade to your modern authentication to continue to use your emails, your contacts, and your calendars in the system. Some of you have already gone through that process and have updated and are in line for all of those changes. But I know a lot of people have not addressed that yet, especially if you do not have an IT department and you're relying pretty much on outsourced IT. What that means pretty much with your Dynamics GP users, in that if you are using emails out of Great Plains, including workflow approvals, you will have to be required to upgrade to that modern authentication to continue to use these. So the general emails, pretty much, so if you're emailing purchase orders, sales orders, invoices, those types of things straight out of the GP part. Also, if in the workflow part, you're using emails to approve any kind of workflow approvals, those items will discontinue to be used if you're not upgraded to the modern authentication as of October 1st. Currently, we're seeing a lot of people having issues, especially if you're using the GP web client. For those of you that are trying to use the web client and utilizing with modern authentication, and especially the workflow email approvals, Microsoft has been seeing a lot of issues that have been related to those, in that basically the web client does not work with the email approval processing unless you are rolling back a couple of things to allow for those workarounds to work. So keep that in mind. If you haven't already tried to start addressing these things, ask the questions to make sure if you're utilizing the emails in the system. If you're not utilizing the emails, just realize too, some of your emails outside of the system will still have to be upgraded to the modern authentication with the new things coming out with Microsoft. October 1st is on a Saturday, so plan ahead for that weekend, making sure that you have these things addressed. As we can tell right now from Microsoft people we've talked to, they're not sure if things are going to stop working on the Friday, if they're going to stop working on Saturday the 1st, or if they're going to wait until the Monday to see when those changes are going to start rolling out with Microsoft. So be ready, plan ahead for that weekend, and make sure that you have things addressed and ready to go so that Monday, the next week, is going to be starting out on the right foot. If you need any help with all of those, please let one of your consultants know. There are a couple of blogs that are already out there that have been out there for a few months now. One of them relates to just emails outside of Great Plains, and one of them is related just with the workflow parts of emails. There are two separate processes that take place in Great Plains with workflow and with non-workflow emails. So we need to make sure that both of those, pretty much, there's blogs out there to help us get through all of those issues. There's also a fantastic troubleshooting guide that goes through a lot of very specific things on working through those email issues that we've been seeing and running through with some of our customers. That pretty much troubleshooting guide kind of really talks a lot. If you need that link for that, let us know and we can make sure you can get to that link. You can also just go ahead and Google up the Dynamics GP email troubleshooting guide, and this will pull up this guide there that's going to really walk you through a lot of the different errors that are happening that we're seeing in our Microsoft customers. A couple of things with the October release. Okay, that's going to be getting ready to come out. Hopefully they'll have all of these email issues addressed. They're not guaranteeing them, but it looks like they will be able to get to all of them. However, they continue to run into a few different things in different areas with customers, and hopefully they can get all of those rolled into this October release. That upgrade will bring you up to the 18.5 release of it. In order to be directly upgrade to that, you need to be at least in a minimum of the 16.00.0814 release or the 18.3 or later releases to get to that 18.5, which will be your October 22nd release. This will also, you'll need to be on those releases to be able to do also your 2022 year-end updates that will be coming out in November. All of our payroll customers, okay, are pretty much usually aware of that every year, that we usually have that year-end update, and those are tentatively scheduled out there in November. Most of our payroll customers usually keep up to that, but for all of you that are on the modern life cycle of Great Plains, you should be applying at least one update every year. And we know we have a number of customers who sometimes skip that one upgrade. We try to at least get you as close as possible. That way, when we do these upgrade processes, it's just a straight one hop into the system. There are also some system upgrade requirements that could also be necessary coming out with this latest release of 18.5. One of the requirements especially rolls around these SQL versions that you're currently on, which we have a number of customers. We are trying to update our internal listing to make sure our GP customers that we have currently in the systems, make sure you're on the right and supported SQL version. You'll notice that in 2018, SQL versions available is 2017, 16, and 14 are the ones that are supported. We do know we have a couple of clients out there, though, that are still on these old versions of SQL 2012. And so we'll be contacting you, as we get ready for this upgrade season, whether it's going to be in your October upgrade or the November year-end upgrade, to make sure that you also are addressing your SQL versions that are out there and get it up to at least 2014, preferably 2016 of SQL. That way you'll be ready for all of the GP updates and be on supported versions of that. We also know there's a couple of others out there that might still be on some old Windows 2012 servers. And so we'll try to make sure you're aware of those versions that are going out of support. And basically, we want to make sure everybody is thinking about all the little things that we're seeing that could come up and bite us later on, especially as the world of hacking and all of the viruses, whatever, continue to evolve. We want to make sure that on these supported releases, we're keeping up to date to be able to block a lot of those issues that are sometimes hitting some of our customer base. The GP lifecycle, okay, Microsoft announced this pretty much last year, I think in July of 2021, that here's the latest versions with GP Dynamics GP. It is out there for at a minimum of 2028 and beyond. We know a number of our clients are continuing to be pushed by Microsoft into upgrading not only to GP from Dynamics GP to moving over to other cloud-based the products that they have. However, we're working with our customers to make sure that they are going to be comfortable, okay, with versions we want to take them with. It is not necessary for you to move off of that Dynamics GP yet, as there is no end of life for in the foreseeable future for it, and it continues to have a large customer base. But of course, Microsoft wants to move everybody over into their newer products to get you to start paying a little bit more on the monthly subscription rather than the annual enhancements. So if you have questions, if you're still getting bombarded from Microsoft, we continually try to tell them to quit badgering our customers, but yet they continue to do so. Make sure you're in communication with your consultants and let us guide you pretty much when we think it's the right time to get you to either move over or to continue on with Great Plains. This coming November, okay, we'll have our GP year-end close update skills. That'll be coming up. Should be scheduled for sometime in mid-November. The year-end release should be coming out. It's always at least the second or third week in November. Sometimes it's delayed, but most of the time it's right around that time. It's a necessary evil for everyone that are in my payroll customers to make sure that all of the changes are in place for your W-2 processing and all of that year-end magnetic media reporting. One of the new features that will be coming out in the November 22 year-end release will be the feature of being able to print out your payables 1099 NEC forms straight out of GP. So you won't have to use pre-printed forms like you have been in all these past years. They've finally added that feature in, but it's only on the NEC forms as of this time. So that'll be coming out in November. So for all of you that do handle your 1099s out of Great Plains, don't pre-order those forms yet. If we can get you onto that year-end report, you should be able to print those straight out of Great Plains on your plain paper. As we get close to that with our update skills series, we'll have this November 10th, November 10th series for our year-end processing. We like to invite you to make sure you get the registered or whatever to be able to sit in on those items too. One other thing coming up really quick also is our Gpug Summit. That is the Great Plains User Group Summit, the annual conference. This year will be held in Kissimmee, Florida at the Gaylord Palms. A number of our customers are already registered to go out and be there. Let us know if you are planning on being there. Let your consultants know. I know Louie and Charlie are planning on being up there also. We'd like to be able to get together with you. That's coming up October 10th through 13th. And there's a link there if you need to get more information on the community summit, see what sessions will be out there. There's going to be a lot of information related to Great Plains still, but also they'll have some other third-party products that will be available for us to be able to review. So if you have any questions on any of that, please let us know.